Item 10D, adopt a resolution authorizing an additional police officer position to facilitate an assignment to the Drug Enforcement Administration DEA Metro 1 Task Force.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. Thank you. The City of San Bruno has been extended the opportunity to secure a position on a regional task force coordinated by the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA. This program represents a cooperative effort between the DEA and local law enforcement agencies. This group not only conducts detailed investigations into high-level narcotic offenses, but also assists local agencies within its regional area with investigations that may not necessarily be narcotics related. This task force has access to a number of sophisticated and expensive investigative tools, which they effectively use to conduct operations, complete investigations, and locate suspects or subjects who are wanted for crimes that they may have committed. Participation in this task force would provide the city with access to all of this personnel and tools. Combining DEA resources with state and local officers' investigative talents and detailed knowledge of their local jurisdictions has continually led to highly effective law enforcement investigations. While the DEA's primary mission is to combat the flow of illegal substances throughout the United States, this mission inevitably crosses paths with a multitude of criminal activities that are associated with narcotics. Examples of this can be seen in the common nexus between narcotics and criminal street gangs, residential burglaries, identity theft, and human trafficking. This task force not only investigates major narcotics activities, but is also made available to each of the participating agencies to supplement major investigations within their individual local departments. As an example, this group was recently called upon to apprehend a criminal street gang member who had shot at a South San Francisco police officer. Because the South San Francisco Police Department is a participating agency, they had instant access to personnel, technology, crime analysis, and surveillance tools. These are all resources that the San Bruno Police Department's participation would allow access to on a regular basis. It's important to note that participation in this team is fairly exclusive and is open by invitation only. There are some specific reasons why San Bruno was chosen to fill this position, including the fact that a San Bruno police officer is currently assigned to a DEA group at the airport and has performed exceptionally well. This officer has established San Bruno as a department that the DEA can count on to provide intelligent, hardworking team members that deliver significant results. The San Bruno Police Department has been an active participant in numerous federal cases over the past several years, building solid working relationships with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. An example of this is the recently concluded PG&E investigation, in which a San Bruno detective assumed the role of lead investigator in a group that included federal law enforcement personnel in a long-term joint effort. This investigation established a very strong working relationship between the San Bruno Police Department and the United States Attorney's Office. The attorneys from the United States Attorney's Office that worked with San Bruno on the PG&E case are now assigned to the General Felony Section and will be the prosecutorial leads on cases built by this team. Over the last several years, the San Bruno Police Department has built significant expertise in how to identify, develop, and prosecute major narcotics cases and gang-related cases. Due to our proximity to the airport, major freeways, public transportation routes, and key bay bridge crossings, coupled with the presence of Tanforan Mall and other inconspicuous lots, San Bruno is a location frequently chosen by large-scale narcotics and weapons dealers and traffickers to conduct business. An assignment to this group is at the discretion of the San Bruno Police Department, and the department may terminate its participation at any time. The immediate fiscal impact of this action will be the cost of an additional Step 1 police officer to backfill a vacancy created in patrol. Participating agencies receive a percentage of assets seized in the federal investigations of this task force. This includes funds seized as part of the group's parcel interdiction efforts. These efforts consist of intercepting mail packages that are known to contain money and narcotics associated with large-scale regional and national narcotics investigations. Local agencies currently participating in this group report that the proceeds they receive via these forfeitures more than cover the costs associated with backfilling the assigned officer's position in patrol. Overtime, training, and equipment costs are all provided by the task force. It is believed that our personnel costs will be recovered via the asset forfeiture funds received as a participating agency in this team. This belief is based on the information received from local police departments who have participated in this team for several years. While receipt of these funds can never be guaranteed, staff believes that based on the experience of these other local participating law enforcement agencies, it is sufficiently likely to warrant consideration of this assignment. Should this position be authorized by the City Council, Staff is prepared to report back annually regarding the task force performance locally and its value to the city, as well as funding received. The police department recently filled a vacant police lieutenant position and is in the process of recruiting for 2 vacant police officer positions. The lieutenant position had been vacant since the beginning of this fiscal year, and the officer positions for the last several months. It's anticipated that the salary savings experienced from these vacancies will allow for the funding of the proposed position for the remainder of the 16-17 fiscal year, or until related funds are received. Staff therefore recommends that the council adopt a resolution authorizing the proposed position in order to accept this invitation to participate in this task force. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions for the chief?
Yeah.
Ken?
Chief, you explained how we'll pay for the position, and I trust that that's probably a good payback, and plus along with the benefits of, the task force and the DEA, the equipment and information. God, I just lost my train of thought. Now, will this San Bruno police officer be available to the community at all, or is this person strictly, under the direction of the DEA?
The San Bruno police officer will work as a team member within the DEA group, and the group as a whole will be accessible to the city of San Bruno. So it's a force multiplier in effect, where if we have an identified problem where we have an uptick in violence, gang-related violence, or some type of street-level narcotic or violent-related crime, we'll be able to call upon not only the individual, but the team as a whole to come in and help us address those issues.
Okay. And lastly, yeah, it's a good deal. What about you mentioned one of the benefits, the San Bruno police officer is currently assigned to the DEA task force at the airport. Mm-hmm. Can you explain a little bit more on that,
sure.
that position?
There we have one officer assigned to a DEA group at the airport. The San Francisco International Airport is notorious nationwide for its import and exportation of controlled substances and proceeds associated with controlled substances. We work with other local entities, local police officers assigned to this group to combat that. Being a neighbor to SFO, we kind of bear the brunt of some of that, because a lot of these folks get off a plane and don't go far. Often end up in San Bruno before they just turn around and go back to wherever they came from after completing whatever nefarious act they intend to complete. So we're very happy with our participation in that group and the impact it's had.
Who pays for that? I mean, is that a full-time role?
That's a full-time role, and that cost is assumed by the police
airport?
department. No, it's by the police department. The overtime costs and all training and equipment costs are covered, but that's a cost that's assumed by the police department, and we assumed that a couple years ago with an existing position. We did not create an additional position for that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Any action by the council?
I'll go ahead and introduce the resolution for adoption.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.